In this YouTube video, I am going to go over the three-step process on how apartment locators do their work, right? And then the pitfalls, and then what the things that people struggle with that make the three-step process harder when it doesn't have to be hard. And that's what this YouTube video is going to be about, filmed here in Argentina in a town that no one even knows about. But I get to enjoy it because as an apartment locator, you're a real estate agent that can make a lot of money, but also work remote, where you can't do that as a realtor. Because how are you going to show a resale home with a lockbox on it if you're not there in person, right? It all makes sense. There's also a lot of contract writing when you're a traditional realtor, as opposed to zero contracts, zero paperwork as an apartment locator. Anyways, let's go ahead and start this YouTube video off, right? So unlike what people think, right, a lot of people try to complicate apartment locating, but when you really think about it, it's a three-step process, okay? You generate a lead, okay? Hopefully when you generate the lead, you can automate in the same step as it's happening naturally where you're generating a lead, that they get auto pre-qualified. Okay, there are ways to do that. It's actually very simple. And so you can combine that into one step. And then once you generate the lead and they're auto pre-qualified, then you just talk to them, right? You jump on a very quick 10-minute Zoom call and you do the booked call appointment. Doesn't have to be hard. In that booked Zoom call, you can share your screen, show them the database so they see the value in the client's face. You're like, hey, unlike apartments.com, this is our proprietary database that we use, and I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see it. So boom, they see the value. You know, you already introduce yourself, you build a little bit of rapport the first minute or two, and so now you're just doing a very basic apartment locating search. You know, drawing a circle where they're interested in living, and then based off of the pre-qual you got automatically, sort of where they need to live, the year built, what they need, if they need a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, how big it is, if the washer and dryer needs to be in there. So you filter all this stuff on your database, super easy. It can all be done in the 10-minute call. And that's it, then you just email it over. That's the second step, right? You email the list over while you're on the Zoom call. That's the second stage of apartment locating. So then what's the third stage? The third stage is just follow-up, okay? Because chances are when full-grown adults need to rent an apartment, it's not like you're selling them a $4 million house where they can just decide to change their budget and then find a different priced house. Or it's not like you're selling them a premium item that they absolutely don't need, right? Like, I don't know, a jet ski, and then they can just decide to not have a jet ski anymore. And then they're out of the sale, right? Usually when full-grown adults need to rent an apartment, it's a bare minimum living necessity. So they're going to rent an apartment with or without you. So the whole point here is that if you're just competent, friendly with them, make them feel comfortable, they are going to do the thing that's going to make you money, which is lease an apartment and write your name down, okay? So the third step is follow-up. And once you follow up with them, they might say, hey, we really like this apartment or this one. What are your thoughts? You give them your input, and then they're eventually going to apply. But in the follow-up and on the Zoom call, right, stage 2 and 3, you need to remind them to write your name on their rental application so you have the ability to send them over an invoice, right? But that's basically the whole business after follow-up. It's very, very easy, right? So you lead generate, you do the appointment, then you follow up. It's 3 steps. Now, how do people mess up this very simple 3-step business model inside of real estate that has made me rich over the 9 years I've been into this? How do I see students or followers or agents ruin this very easy process? Okay? They ruin the process because they don't know how to lead generate in the first place. So then they're just reliant on their broker giving them free leads. And what's funny is that a lot of brokerage firms that specialize in apartment locating don't understand digital marketing. So the issue is that agents get reliant on the leads that their brokers provided them. And it's a huge mistake because I've actually seen agents land $20,000, $25,000 months, right? And everything is great. And then the moment their broker stops providing leads to them, they go from 20, 25K a month to like 5. And that's really not a good place to be because you're just putting yourself at a disadvantage. So you have to learn how to generate your own leads in this business in the correct way. Okay, so then the other big issue I see inside of this simple process is agents complaining about ghosting, yet they're not organized on a calendar with like Calendly, and they're not taking Zoom calls, and they're trying to work remote, like just by texting clients or calling them, and they're not understanding why their ghosting is higher than normal, okay? So what you need to do is you really need to put a face to the name and get on a Zoom call or a Google Meet call or something where it allows you to truly work remote. You don't want to necessarily only work in office like some brokerage firms make their agents do, because there's just a lot of like liability with that. Also, you're gonna get no-shows, you have to drive to the office. And it's just not ideal to do a bunch of in-office appointments because they end up taking longer than 10 minutes. I've seen locators do in-office appointments that take an hour to 2 hours long. And it's just a lot of time where you could go through 10 or 20 booked Zoom calls in the same amount of time, right? So you want to put yourself in a position where you can take a lot of calls in the comfort of your own home remotely, and then just have the potential to earn as much money as possible by working remote, but over video call, whether it's Zoom or Google Meet or something. Okay, so that's a big thing, is like complaining about ghosting but not doing what I'm telling you to do, right? Get on a Zoom call and lower your ghosting rate dramatically, because you build that psychological connection where you're seeing your client face to face. You're introducing each other. They probably just saw your website and they got auto pre-qualified, so they know that your systems are professional before they even jump on the call. Okay, that's also why we teach a sales funnel and having a landing page video in there, so that way the client knows what's up before entering the call. Okay, that's why it's important to have backend systems in place. That's a big thing, is a ghosting. And then lastly, it's collections. The other biggest issue that will make or break this awesome three-step business model for everyone is collecting their checks, okay? Even if you're good at lead gen or closing your broker's leads, and you're executing calls the way I'm telling you to do, and you're following up with them and they're applying, and then you're finally realizing that this business is lucrative, like I've been trying to tell you this whole time, and it's working for you, a huge problem that might sneak up and bite you is the collections, okay? A lot of the times, apartment locators will choose brokerage firms that don't specialize in apartment locating. Therefore, with collections, the whole process becomes a whole lot slower and time consuming, and there's a whole lot of steps that need to take place before an apartment will pay you the check. Okay, and if you choose a brokerage firm that is not vendor verified and doesn't have marketing permissions in place, and they haven't sent over the copy of their broker's license or W-9, their errors and omissions insurance, and all this stuff a company needs to send over to an apartment building before they can pay you, right? If that's not already done, it's going to delay your leases. And so you don't want to choose the wrong firm that doesn't truly focus on apartment locating. Also, agents that try to do their own collections fail miserably, because it's another full-time job to follow up on all of your many invoices. You might do 10 or 20 closes in a month, okay? And if you got to follow up with each and every single one, weekly, in case an email changes or their account payable system changes, or they get bought out by another management company, or the property manager, they fire someone and hire someone else. A lot of things happen in the business, and that's why you need to follow up at least once a week on every single invoice. But it becomes a full-time job to make sure the invoices are received, all the documents are on file for every single one of your monthly leases. It just becomes another full-time job. So I've seen locators that are so wrapped up trying to collect their 2 or 3 leases for the month that they're kind of neglecting time, and they're not focusing the time they would have had on new leads, so that way they can produce a lot of money for the next month upcoming, right? So you don't want to get into a position where you're choosing the wrong brokerage firm that doesn't do locating, and you're trying to do your own collections. That's how you'll fail miserably. What you should be doing is piggybacking off your broker's leads, setting up your own marketing, definitely doing appointments over video call, and then following up, and then just delegating. That's another lead. Anyways, you need to delegate your collections to a brokerage firm that actually specializes in your niche of apartment locating. Don't try to do collections yourself. If you guys have any further questions or you would like our support inside of our live coaching program, that's what it's there for. It is a very involved program. We don't just work with everyone. We're at like 403 students at the moment that are being live coached by us right now, me and my team of other six-figure apartment locators. So if you do want to have a conversation with us to see if this business model could make sense to you or how we're locating currently going into year 2024 and what we're doing differently, remember, we were the first apartment locating company or group to ever even execute a Zoom call inside of the apartment locating space. We were also the first company to ever develop a sales funnel specifically for apartment locators, right? So we've been doing this for a long time. We know exactly what we're doing, and we know exactly how to guarantee our new students success inside of the six-figure income bracket with only apartment locating. No resale, no new homes, but you could do new homes with your pre-existing clientele if that's what you want to do in the future. We do teach that, but with just apartment locating alone, we can guarantee that you can get into the six-figure income bracket. So if you want to learn more or you want to chat with my team, then click the link below, watch the business breakdown, and then book a call if it makes a lot of sense to you and your situation. Thank you so much. Hopefully this YouTube video was helpful. Bye-bye.